The Mount Pinatubo volcanic eruption was an eruption of great magnitude and great impact. It is the second largest volcanic eruption of the 20th century. It is by far the largest eruption to affect a densely populated area, and the eruption produced high-speed avalanches of hot ash and gas, giant mud flows, and a cloud of volcanic ash hundreds of miles across. The impacts of the eruption continue to this day. The eruption itself occurred on June 15, 1991, in Luzon, the Philippines, and it occurred because on July 16, 1990, there was a magnitude 7.8 earthquake, which is comparable in size to the great 1906 earthquake in San Francisco that struck around 60 miles northeast of Mount Pinatubo, shaking and squeezing the Earth's crust beneath the volcano. At the mountain, this earthquake caused a landslide, local earthquakes, and a short increase in steam emissions from a pre-existing geothermal area. In March and April of 1991, molten rock, or magma, began rising toward the surface from more than 20 miles beneath Mount Pinatubo, triggering small earthquakes and powerful steam explosions, which blasted 3 craters in the volcano. Thousands of small earthquakes then occurred through April, May, and early June. All of this is what caused the massive eruption on the 15th of June that year. The human impact of this volcanic eruption was tremendous. Fortunately, though, scientists were able to forecast the eruption and people were transported to evacuation camps, saving at least 5,000 lives and at least $250 million in property. There were still 350 people who died during the eruption. Disease that broke out in the evacuation camps and the continuing mud flows caused additional deaths, raising the death toll to 722 people. The eruption left more than 200,000 people homeless, including the 30,000 people who lived in small villages on the volcano before the eruption. Numerous roofs collapsed in the communities surrounding the volcano as a result of the weight of the rain-saturated ash, earthquake shaking, and strong winds, including the 2 large U.S. military bases, Clark and Subic Bay. Damage to infrastructure reached $142 million. The 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo also had a great impact on the environment. The eruption affected weather around the globe. Nearly 20 million tons of sulfur dioxide were injected into the stratosphere as a result of the eruption, and the dispersal of this gas cloud around the world caused global temperatures to drop temporarily by about 1 degree Fahrenheit from 1991 until 1993. Many rice paddies and sugarcane fields were buried by lahars, which are a destructive mud flow on the slopes of a volcano, and these fields were not usable for years. Tiny aerosol droplets were released into the atmosphere as a result of the eruption, and these droplets reflected sunlight away from the Earth, also causing cooling at the surface. Overall, both with the environment and with people, the eruption caused $700 million in damage. As a result of this volcanic eruption, there was a very important lesson that was learned. This lesson being that evacuation recommendations can never be made too lightly. Especially with volcanoes like this one that are in a well-populated area, it is very important that those in the area evacuate. If those in the area of Mount Pinatubo did not evacuate in 1991, it could have been a lot worse.
Run that back, turbo.
Playmakers.
Okay, out on my wrist, counted and spin it. Mad at the coupe, mine with no tenant. Chop out the top, hit it the limits. I got some cash, I wanna spend it. New paper tag, didn't wanna rent it.